Well, welcome to another installment of Impressive Opinions. I'm Bennett, this is Sinjun. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video. Today we'll be discussing the movie The Revenant, starring Leo DiCaprio.
Directed by Alfonso... Wait, what's his name?
Alfonso along the last name.
No, it was...
He's got a very hard to pronounce name. I'm not going to attempt it. You can look it up.
Alejandro G. Inarritu.
Inarritu.
Yeah, I just call him Inarritu.
Inarritu.
That's the important part. Anyway,
Inarritu.
Yeah, so I've been following him since Amores Perros. Well, he's been a fascinating director. I like 21 Grams a lot. That was my favorite of his until
Great movie.
now.
Yeah.
So he followed 21 Grams with Babel, which a lot of people didn't really respond to that much. I thought it was kind of heavy-handed.
I enjoyed Babel. I thought it was kind of cool.
But its themes, parts. I mean, something about Inarritu is that he hammers home his themes in kind of a blunt way, and they're kind of simplistic themes a lot of the time. And in Babel, at least I felt that he didn't need to make it so obvious. He could have found a way to tell that story without it being so neatly kind of packaged for audiences. So I feel like there he tripped a little bit, and by meeting Lubezki, something I feel like his inner spirit came alive again, and everything, all of the strengths of 21 Grams was multiplied tenfold.
It seems more focused too.
Yeah, well, it's a survival story. It's so it's about this guy Hugh Glass, and he's left for dead by Tom Hardy's character, who is called Fitzgerald. It's loosely inspired by a true story about the real fur trapper Hugh Glass. He was attacked. He was actually attacked by a bear, and his injuries were actually as bad as they were in the film. Gets his throat cut, gets his back torn open. In the true story, he had to use maggots to get those wounds healed, which they didn't even get to in the movie. So anyway,
yeah, and the bear fight is a glorious scene.
Yeah.
It's not really so much a fight as it is, Leo taking the opportunity, like, okay, Leo, you've done everything an actor can do. Let's go ahead and throw you into a CGI bear fight and see how you come out. And it was the most realistic CGI character interaction I've ever seen.
Yeah, me too.
If you could get lost in it thinking that's a real bear, that, great acting. Bear did great acting. Bear could have gotten a nomination. He'd probably win over Leo just based on the fact that Leo...
Well, I think they were nominated for the animation or special effects department.
They should be. It was an extraordinary example of, the passion that those guys have to make their job look so real. And then
it was completely convincing. Yeah, I mean,
totally convincing.
Even when they panned up to the close-up of the bears, he was drooling all over him.
Yeah.
I mean, I still felt like this was real. I mean, it was amazing how they pulled it off. And in interviews, DiCaprio is he's saying he's not even allowed to really explain too much which makes sense because because Inarritu wants the magician's secrets to be kept a little close to the chest, and considering how great of an achievement it was, if he spilled the secrets and everyone would do it. So, he's kind of leaving it up to other filmmakers to figure out how to achieve
Technology can only take you so far.
It's not just that.
It's a creative whimsy that a mad genius has.
Well, it's the cinematography. It's keeping everything naturally lit and having, by shooting that scene as if everything was happening for real, like a natural light. They took the same philosophy towards CGI as they did the regular scenes. And by doing that, it made it all feel... like it was all part of the same thing, instead of it being, this is obviously CGI. It felt just completely natural.
You feel like you're there in all the shots because it's so close, and the music, and then the sounds of like the wind and the trees and the rain and the rapids of the water, and everything it's so right in your face.
Yeah.
It's
immersive. It's an immersive.
Exactly. It's unavoidable. Yeah. So I think to kind of curtail the film as though it's just a revenge story or it's just a survival story is completely it's true in a sense, but it's done in a way that's never been done
You're reducing
before.
and you're stripping away all of the things that make film such a unique and amazing medium, because sure, the script might not be the most original script in the world, but for the medium of film, the things this achieves from a technical level is, it's second to none.
Yeah.
In a lot of scenes, it's visual poetry. It evokes Tarkovsky. Andrei Tarkovsky, the Russian filmmaker who has directed Stalker and Solaris. This is one of the few films that I've ever seen that was able to, at least in moments, evoke the same sense of, I don't know how else to say it, but just of emotion in me, of just a feeling that I get. I can't even describe it past that.
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps, and the lingering shots of water running, of him walking across these vast landscapes, and the music that's a perfect companion to these images. It's a purely filmic experience. It's a kind of experience you can't get anywhere else but film.
See, when I first saw Birdman, I felt as though, I categorized the movie in any way that you can categorize a movie. You have the score, you have the screenplay, you have the acting chops, the cinematography and how it looks, how it feels, how it sounds. And that's more the technical side. So there's the emotional side and there's the technical side. And The Revenant is the perfect marriage to me of technical things that have never been done before or achieved. I'd say even attempted before, because it costs hundreds of millions of dollars to even attempt to do this stuff, let alone succeed at it. And then the emotional side of, if you did all that right and you got the environment right, then the emotions will come from really the viewer as opposed to the actors emoting, which is typically the issue, is that, the acting fails or the writing fails or the editing fails. And in this, everyone was put in a position to just naturally kind of flow like the breeze of the trees, like the water rushing. That's why the focus kept on, and the breathing, and everything was real, rhythmic, the whole thing.
Little scenes like when his dead son is in the snow and he's just laying down on top of his son and breathing, and his breath is fogging up the camera lens.
Yes.
Things like that was perfect.
Yeah.
I feel like things like that didn't draw attention to the fact that it's being filmed or anything. It just made it more personal and more real, that seeing his breath,
Like that, and that to me, when I first saw that, it reminded me of a scene in Children of Men where there's this wide blood splatter and some of the blood gets on the camera.
On the lens, gets
on the lens.
Yeah, he's used that technique ever since then. Yeah.
It's like, and it doesn't take you out. It doesn't remind you you're watching a movie. It reminds you you're in this place.
It pulls you in more. Like
you are the camera. And you just got hit with some blood spray, or that fogging up the glass. It's just, the lens,
like
lens of the camera. Yeah. You're participating. You're there. It's just another element, just like the soundtrack. And it we keep on saying the word immersive, but it is the most immersive movie I've seen. I don't want to say that I've ever seen, but it really.
I mean, if not ever, then it's right up there.
I don't know. I don't know what other theatrical experience I've had that was so gripping and brought me in, and I think it needed to have Leonardo DiCaprio, it needed to have Tom Hardy, it needed to have some actors that know exactly what they're doing with the source material and everything, but they were really just pawns in Inarritu's magic that he was creating.
It's not a movie with deep character depth. It's more just about the feeling and the emotion and the atmosphere.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
The sense of place. So I feel like if you're the kind of viewer and you don't respond to visuals and atmosphere and things like that, then you might not love it.
I have some friends I've talked about The Revenant with, and they probably are similar to the opinions you've read about, where they just kind of they weren't sold on it, because you do have to be patient with a movie like this, with a film like this. You have to appreciate.
If you don't get pulled into its atmosphere, it's not going to speak to you.
Yeah, it'll all. Yeah,
so it's.
Yeah, it spoke to me. It spoke to both of us.
Yeah.
that's why we're discussing it right now. Why it's the best movie of the past year, albeit
aside from Star Wars for you.
Aside from Star Wars, just because go see it. It's a good movie. Leo DiCaprio, Tom Hardy, Inarritu, and we out though.